Magnus Carlsen, world number 1, opens with the grotesque g4, the Grob, an atrocious defense at the highest level. His opponent, a grandmaster, goes d5, very principled, and now e4, a gambit of a pawn which is accepted. Look at this evaluation bar plummeting as black takes over the initiative, about 2 pawns ahead when you consider that white was about half a pawn better, having the first move. This is titled Tuesday, early tournament, it's online speed chess, and Magnus's opponent is Grandmaster Grzegorz Nasuta of Poland. Very strong player in his own right. So knight c3 from Magnus, going after the pawn, e5 developing, but Magnus doesn't yet take that. Why would he do something normal? He goes pawn h4, ploughing the rook's pawn down the board, breaking every rule here. How does he take this position and win it in the next 18 moves? Just nuts. We see knight c6 played, bishop g2, this one under fire, and now a nice move. You know, knight f6 looks natural to defend, but you run into g5, you get kicked about. So h5 played, and it's a nice idea. If you kick on with g5, you're running into bishop g4, that's very problematic. So Magnus takes, best move, stops bishop g4, and now the top move for black is knight h6, supporting bishop g4, and the knight heads for f5. You feel like Magnus would have just found that in a split second, right? But f5 played by his opponent, and oh, the king has lifted the kill. This could get risky. Yes, you've got the nice pawn clump here, but d3 from Magnus. He starts undermining, of course not afraid to chuck more pawns, right? Black takes, other moves were available, but this one not so bad. And now does Magnus recapture the pawn? No, he chucks in the Zwischenzug. Whispers it as he does so, as the top players do. That's an in-between move, or an intermezzo as you could say. Which one sounds more mellifluous? You guys decide. Or is it mellifluous? Someone taught me this new word in the comments, means beautiful. Intermezzo, Zwischenzug, same thing. You chuck it in before recapturing. Now black can't take and hit your queen, or there's this very cool intermezzo of bishop takes here with check, pawn recaptures, and you crash down like this. Shades of Morphe, except it's a queen, not a rook. King's getting hunted. So don't take here, no good. Instead we see bishop e7, good move, and Magnus should now take here immediately with check. But he instead takes the pawn on d3. What's the big difference? Why the reaction in the bar? Black doing better? Well, it's only if you find this move of knight to b4, pressuring this weak d3 pawn, and then it's difficult for white to cover that weakness. Yes, you can check, but this bishop covers the knight. Game goes on, it's a different one, right? But instead we see takes here. Really natural idea. Now Magnus takes with check, pawn recaptures, h pawn takes on g5, and queen takes. This is Nasuta's point. He's now, what, a pawn ahead? Yes, a shattered structure, but Magnus is king, also a bit of a state, but he's misassessed this position because knight f3 and Magnus starts picking up some initiative. Now the queen is hit, the pawn is hit. Queen f4 looks nice to pressure the knight and cover the pawn and that kind of thing, but then you run into rook h4. Queen's got a retreat, pawn's dropping. No good. So instead, queen e7 played, good move, but queen a4 from Magnus. Big threat to take on there with check. Bishop b7 the best move, but bishop d7 played, such a natural looking one. c5 coming, but now castles queenside, and look at how the game is turning. Magnus is like nearly 2 pawns ahead now. Just crazy how he just pounces on these micro inaccuracies that come one after another. Now what to do here? There's big threats like knight takes on e5, queen recaptures, bring a rook, it's pinned to the king. That's why you can't just go knight f6. If you castle queenside, well, Magnus crashes through. So c5 is played. It's the best move. Queen c4 comes, and now black makes a huge blunder here. But it's a very tough position. Best was castles though. Get that king to safety. Sure, Magnus can check, and you could have a line like this. King a bit exposed, the rook centralised. White's a bit better, but not tons in it. You know, black has some ideas too. But not played, castles. Instead, bishop c6. This is the big blunder, and look at the reaction of the bar. Can you find a move? A stunning brilliancy here to rip open the black king. Do pause if you want to look for it. So the move played here is knight takes on e5. How about that for a beauty? It's almost as picturesque as the hat which Wesley So won for being champion at the 2015 Bilbao Masters. What a beauty that is. Now, why is this move working so well? Well, if queen takes, then we've got this theme mentioned before of bringing the rook, using the pin here, the skewer, call it as you will, and then you actually pick up a queen for minor piece and rook. Good for white. If you take in the corner, played in the game, well, this is Magnus's point. You do not capture here. It's a game of Zwischenzügs. You chuck in this knight g6, hitting these two. This was played. The queen's got to move. All other variations are poor, but queen f6 was technically best. Instead, though, we see queen g5 check. Looks so natural. You know, you're an entire rook up here, let's not forget. But the problem, the move that's been overlooked, is f4. Queen takes on h5 now played, but again coming back to f6 was better, and Magnus now pounces on the black king with queen e6 check. The hunt is on. King d8 played, and now the king's in a mating net. It cannot move. You just need to land another check. So d4 played by Magnus, looking to open the file, of course. c4 keeps it shut, but now knight e5 back, and the checkmate threatened in two ways. Yes, with the the queen coming to d7, but also with a knight coming here, huge check. Okay, it wouldn't be checkmate, but you'd have to give the queen, and that's why this isn't working. You check here, queen's got to give itself up. You don't check here, by the way. Normally that would work, but the bishop covers from afar. So these are the big problems. Knight f6 played, covers d7, but now d5, an absolute killer. You've intercepted the bishop's defense of c6. So knight c6 mate is coming. How do you cover against it? You know, say you try and kamikaze a bishop, still you can play it because the bishop's pinned. That's a checkmate. So black would have to go c6, give some space, but then this epic king hunt can begin. I'm just going to show you one sample line. There's loads, right? But this is a nice one. You literally do a double knight sacrifice just to hunt the king, and it gets mated on the a file eventually. Very nice finish. This the final position. Black lost on time but could have resigned. Magnus takes it in 22 moves with that opening trash. How does he do it? If you want to see another game just like this one, check out the video on screen. Absolutely crazy. Do smash subscribe to never miss another one, and I hope to see you again soon. Cheers.